think it's a good time to tell you about the ascension of Darius to the throne. Tell me if something sounds familiar. Okay, the ascension of Darius to the throne was when? We said? 10th of Tishrei. Very convenient date. 10 days after the equinox is usually a day of judgment. Darius is of the same dynasty as Cyrus, but he's not his son. Cyrus had 2 sons. One had a dream. The one who was king had a dream. His name was Cambodia. And the dream told him that he should beware of his brother, because his brother would take the throne from him. Actually, the dream didn't tell him your brother, he just said his name. So what does a good king do when someone tells him that someone is going to take the throne from him? He tells him. That's right. He sends a servant to kill him because he was busy quenching some revolt in Egypt or something. He sent a servant, the servant killed his brother. While he was in Egypt taking care of revolts, someone else, a Median, with the same name as his brother, takes the throne. And Media was the previous empire. Media was the empire before the Persian Empire. Actually, Cyrus was the grandson of the emperor, of the Median emperor. That's a whole other story. His grandfather dreamed that his grandson, that the son of his daughter, is going to kill him and take the empire. And what did he try to do? Prevent his daughter from getting sons. He gave her to some Persian king, some small Persian king. He thought it's no good. And by the time he found out she was pregnant, it was too late. And when Cyrus was born, he sent him with one of his servants so he can kill him in the woods. But the servant, instead of killing him, gave him to his shepherd to kill. But the shepherd just lost a baby, so he took him and raised him as his own, and we know the rest. He became a great king, and he really took the empire from his grandfather. But the Persians and the Medes...
It's like Greek mythology, you know.
It's like Greek mythology, it's like Jewish mythology. Both Abraham and Moses were in similar danger. Iranian mythology, Zarathustra was in a similar danger. Big people, yeah, important people are usually an attempted victim of murder by their fathers or the king or their grandfather. The Medes are the enemies of the Persians because Cyrus set the Persians free. And now, when his son is abroad and the other son is dead, a Mede, someone from Median, takes the throne. So who is in danger now? The Persians are in danger. The king gathers all the nobles and he tells them, listen, I had this dream, and the dream told me that my brother would take the throne, and I killed my brother, and I regret it to this day because the person that I was warned from was actually this Median. But now my brother is dead. Nobody knows that the Median is not my brother, and we're at a loss. He wanted to ascend his horse in order to ride back to Susa, which is, we know as Shushan, and he had an accident. His sword went into his thigh, and he died 2 weeks after from the wound. So now there's a king. There are people who heard he's not the real king, but they don't dare do anything because he's a king now. And there's no witness because the servant who killed the real king now doesn't have the support, the back of the king, and he doesn't want to admit that he killed the real king. So we're at a loss, and the Persians are in real danger because this king is going to put the Persians back under Median control, which is very bad. Then one man gets really suspicious. His name is Hutana, and he gets suspicious because the new king, unlike other kings, never goes in public. The king usually went in public with his wives, with his escorts. He was never seen in public. Another thing is that the king usually invited all the nobles to the palace. Some of them could see his face, some of them could not, or needed to be escorted in. But this king didn't let anyone in. That's odd. Maybe he's really not the real king. So what do we need in such a case when we're not sure it's the real king because no one sees him actually?
A woman.
Right, a woman. Hutana's daughter was married to the king. She was married to Cambodia, the king who died from wound in the thigh. But then all the wives of Cambodia became the wives of Bardia, who was the new king. And he told her, is the man you're sleeping with Bardia, the son of Cyrus, or is he someone else? And she said, I don't know, it's dark. So he said, you know what? Ask Hutausa. Hutausa was the daughter of Cyrus. She was married to her brother Cambodia, and when he died, she went with all the other women to the harem of her other brother. She was a main queen. In ancient Iran, marrying your sister is one of the greatest mitzvahs. But that's also a whole other lecture. You can ask Hutausa because she must know whether this is her brother or not. He said, no, he separated us. Now each one of us has a different wing in the palace, and we don't see each other. Is this suspicious or what? Now all this talk is not made directly. He can't talk directly to her because she is in the harem, in the house of women. And he can't get in. He sits in the city gate and he talks to her through a eunuch. Does this sound familiar? Right? So he says to her, okay, so you can talk to Hutausa. You don't know how he looks. There's only one thing you can do. When your turn comes, you should, when he falls asleep, you should feel for his ears. If he has ears, he's the real king. If he doesn't have ears, he's the median, Bardia, because Cyrus cut off his ears for some offense. It was a normal punishment for certain offenses. Feel for his ears. If he has ears, it's okay. If he doesn't have ears, let me know, because this would mean he's the median. And she says, but you know, if he wakes up and finds out I'm feeling for his ears, he'll know and he'll kill me. And he tells her, this is a sentence I must say in Hebrew, because he says, your people are in danger. Umi yodea im le'et kazot yat lemalchut. Your people are in danger, and who knows if you are our savior. Everything depends on you. And she says, okay, I know I'm taking a risk, but I'm doing it for my people. And he falls asleep. She feels for his ears, and she finds out no ears. She tells his father. She tells her father, Hutana. Hutana collects 6 other Persians. Together they're 7, because 7 is also a typological number. The last man to join the group is Darius. They come into the court. They kill the king, the fake king, on the 10th of Tishrei. And then they kill everyone around him. And then they kill all the Medes. And then they run with their heads in the streets and yell for all the Persians to kill Medes. And this massacre is celebrated at least until the 4th century of the Common Era. At least 1,000 years after, it was still celebrated. But by a holiday that nobody really knows what it is. The only custom we know is that it is recommended for Medes not to get out of home. So this is, actually this story is the most similar to the Scroll of Esther. Yes?
Is that the source of Haman?
I think so. I think so. I asked the Academy of Jewish Languages why ears, because we know why Haman. You know why Haman?
Okay.
Because Haman sounds like moyen, which is poppy. In Yiddish, moyen is poppy, and Haman is Haman. So Moyen Tashin, Haman Tashin.
For a moon.
What?
The Passover showed the moon.
Moon?
Moon. Moon is filled with moon.
Okay, it depends on the dialect. Yeah, Tashin is actually something else, but the word for ears is documented as early as the 15th century in Italy. So it has been ears before Hebrew. So I really think it is the source of eating the ears of Haman, because people who were on death row had their ears cut. Darius himself only writes that in the 10th of, he writes parts of the text. Herodotus completes it. Darius writes, one of the sons of Cyrus was killed by his own hand. He means the accident. Herodotus tells us it's an accident and not suicide. The other brother died. He doesn't tell us how. And he says that there was this imposter who said Ayin Bardia, that he was actually a Median. And he said, in the 10th of Bagayadi, I killed him and everybody. And then Herodotus tells us the story about the girl. Herodotus tells us the story about 100 years is enough time for myths to develop. I don't know if he did it on the 10th of Bagayadi because he wanted it to be part of this myth, because we have to kill the king at the beginning of the year. It's an excellent time to kill a fake king. So maybe he directed it to this date, or maybe he just said it was this date in order to make the myth more credible. We don't really know. But we do know that, for example, Hanukkah was, the date of Hanukkah was preset. When the Jews wanted to purify the temple, they chose the exact date when the temple was defiled. The 25th of Kislev, which is actually the 25th of December, more or less, which is around the New Year. We don't know why they defiled the temple at this time. But we do know that the pagans had a holiday at this time. What holiday is around this time?
The death of the sun and the rebirth.
Right.
The solstice.
Right, it's the solstice. It's the rebirth of the sun. When Constantine wanted to make Jesus an acceptable God, he said, this is his birthday. I always say that the reason we lie on April Fool's Day is because it's 9 months before Christmas.